What's good, YouTube? Once again, it's K Stu the GOAT, and we're going to talk about some coaching changes in the SEC and how that has changed the trajectory of the SEC East. I think, it's no secret that, coaching changes a lot of times bring about a change of culture in a program that starts to solicit some belief in the program. And I think the coaching changes obviously is starting to have glaring results in the SEC East and the SEC in general. You know, it just has really changed what everyone thought was going to be a Georgia dominated sub conference in the SEC. All of a sudden, that has changed with LSU's domination over Georgia this past week, and it's left things wide open for the SEC East. And I think this is great for college football. I think it's great that Florida has reemerged. I think it's incredible that Kentucky has become a team of relevance and has competed. And how big was the game Tennessee going down to Auburn? Now, Auburn obviously is reeling, and they have some struggles down there. But from a psychological standpoint, a team that has not won an SEC game in a very long time, going down to Auburn and, facing some adversity early and showing some heart and winning that football game, it just says a lot about where the SEC East could potentially be headed when you look at the future for SEC football. And this is something that absolutely needed to happen. It didn't need to be a sub-conference in the SEC that was just dominated by one team. Kind of like what you slothfully have in the SEC West with Alabama. Alabama is obviously in a class by themselves. But then you have LSU. You have Texas A&M. You have those teams that are emerging to be competitive even in the SEC West. And you still have Auburn, although Auburn is struggling mightily at the moment. But Auburn still has a pretty decent football team, and they have a lot of talented players. But they really need to get their act together, for lack of a better way of putting it. But when you look at these coaching changes and how they have immediately impacted the culture of SEC, is making this thing kind of fun to watch outside of what's happening at Alabama. To see Florida and all of these different teams able to make a run and possibly make this thing interesting to watch again is very encouraging for college football. I mean, an SEC conference with Florida being irrelevant and Tennessee being irrelevant is just not something that I personally want to see. And the fact that this thing is starting to take off and these teams are ranked and they're playing very competitive football will make for a much more interesting October. And I credit that to the coaching changes because, like I said, changes in leadership changes the trajectory of, how the game is played. It gives the fan base a sense of hope. It gives the players a sense of gratitude, and looking at the recruiting and how that's going to play a role is really, really, really encouraging for the future of these teams. Big shout out to Dan Mullen down in Florida as he has really, really made Florida a relevant football team again, and it's been fun to watch. It's been fun to watch the emergence of Florida and how they've competed a big win over LSU. And I think that's only a sign of things to come. And the funny part about it is, I live in the Athens area. And, prior to the season, Georgia pretty much felt that fan base and that program pretty much felt that they had a stronghold on the SEC East. And that is not the case. Absolutely not the case, and we're going to see how this thing progresses, and I'm going to do some videos which follows up on this one as to how these coaching changes have really, really, really made this SEC East all of a sudden very interesting. Once again, man, it's K Stu the GOAT for Venom Sports. We look forward to seeing how these coaching changes continue to develop and make the SEC East relevant again. Y'all take it easy. Like, comment, and subscribe. Take care.